All praises to the Most High God of Abraham, Isaac, and of Jacob. And peace to everyone joining on this program. This is indeed the Fountain of Israel's Bible Studies program. And as always, it is an honor and a pleasure for me to stand before you on the Lord's Sabbath day. Welcome, brothers and sisters. I want to tackle a subject today, and the title of the lesson is called Great Expectations. And, you know, when I came into what we call the truth or the way number of years ago, it was kind of bittersweet. It was sweet because, you know, when you realize that God takes the scales off your eyes and you're able to see the scripture and they come alive and you're able to see what it says and get an understanding. Okay, and we only get an understanding because of the Ruha, because of the Holy Ghost. It gives us understanding. It opens up our understanding, and we can appreciate that. So it is sweet in that sense. Then to understand who you are, who Israel is, and what's going to happen in the future, what has already happened in the past, and then we look towards the future. And then our faith grows. And it's bitter. Because when you come out of the delusion that's called Roman Christianity, when you come out of the delusion only to walk into confusion that we call the truth, it makes it very, very bitter. We have a lot of doctrines out there, and it's because of doctrine that many of us, you know, Israelites, we cannot come together as a people. So many different divisions, so many different winds of doctrine that's pulling each and every one of us from one side to this side, and you have so many things out there. You have some things that are absolute distractions, and then you have doctrinal issues. You have things from the Sabbath. Is it the lunar Sabbath? Is it the weekly Sabbath? Is it the 7-day Sabbath? Or is it the lunar Sabbath? Do we go on the Gregorian calendar, or do we use Enoch's calendar? So many different things out there. Is the earth flat? Is it round? What is the Messiah's name? What's his true name? Is it Jesus? People are poo-poo. Oh, no, it's not Jesus, not Jesus. It's Yeshua with an E. It's Yahshua with an A. It's Yahweh Shai. It's Yahweh. All this division, once we come into the truth of the word, all we have is division. You have Hebrews out there that say, okay, salvation, it is only for Israel. Then you have some that says everyone can be saved or enter in the kingdom if they are grafted in. And that doesn't even complete the list. The list goes on and on and on. So I just want to deal with one thing, because I also discovered that there in this truth are Messianic and non-Messianic. Tanakh only Hebrews. And I think the problem is they don't see the Messiah. They don't see this Jesus as this Messiah, because it's like, well, who is this guy? Who is this brunette? Who is this pale skin, sometimes blue-eyed, depending on which picture you get? Who is this guy? We're not going to serve him. Oh, no, that's Jesus. And they make the mistake that they believe that we who are Messianics, they think we serve that particular Christ. But the New Testament itself says that there is another Jesus and another Christ that will be preached. There is a false one, but there's an authentic one. And what I want to cover is the great expectation of the real Messiah. We want to take a look and see, what does the scripture say that one day there will be a Messiah. One day there will be a human sacrifice that will take away the sins of Israel and by extension the rest of the world. So let's take a look at that. And we're going to look at this expectation that many people seem to ignore because they have a lot of objections. Many objections that when they want to do away with the New Testament, I'll give you one of the objections. One of the objections is the authorship of the Gospels are not certain. We don't know that Matthew actually wrote Matthew. We don't know if Luke and Mark and John actually wrote those Gospels. I submit to you that it is It is the scholar's best estimate as to who wrote it. But that's a double-edged sword. And I'm going to tell you why, because they say, they're Tanakh only. And their argument against the New Testament is, we don't know who authored these books for sure. It's just a fabrication. We don't know that. Be careful. Because let me submit to you, who wrote the Torah? Who wrote the first 5 books? You say, oh, well, Moses. Do you know that for sure? Because if you go to Deuteronomy, that chronicles when Moses died. He didn't write of his own death. That's before he get into the promise. The Lord said he wasn't going to get into the promised land, but that is where he actually dies in Deuteronomy. So he didn't write that himself. What about Joshua? Who wrote that? In Joshua, he dies at the end of that, so he didn't write it himself. It's him and a scribe, as far as Joshua is concerned. And the same thing with our Torah. It was him or it's a collection of stories, and either Moses himself or the scribes that were close to him collected these stories and wrote, and yet we still believe it. Now, let me make this very clear. I believe the whole Bible. Okay? I believe the Old Testament. I believe the New Testament. But what I'm saying is that don't try to use an argument that says, okay, well, we don't know who wrote the Gospels, when the same thing can be said about the Torah, the same thing that can be said about Joshua, same thing can be said about the Judges. Who wrote Judges? That's my point. Someone else will say, well, I don't like the New Testament because Jesus has 2 birthdays, or we don't know when he was born. We all admit we don't know when he was born. Good thing we don't celebrate it. Not important. But you, because you don't know when he was born. What year was Moses born? What year was the splitting of the Red Sea? What year was that? What year was the Exodus? Oh, you don't know. And yet you still believe that. Interesting. Interesting. Well, the New Testament, you have Jesus as a human sacrifice. And the Torah never tells us about a human sacrifice. I'm not going to even bring up Abraham and Isaac. I'm not going to even, you know what? I'm putting that down. When you go to Zephaniah, what about the Lord saying that he has separated, when he was going to kill a whole group of people because of their sins? And the Lord himself uses the word sacrifice. I have made a sacrifice in Bozrah. Check Zephaniah. So what we have to do is be careful not to make an argument that can be used against our stance. And yet you believe. Oh, or the Tanakh only, they'll say something like, well, in the Tanakh, we have the assurance because it says, thus says the Lord, and the word of the Lord came to, and so says the Lord, and the Spirit of the Lord. And in the New Testament, it doesn't say that. Well, that's wrong, because we can look in Luke where the Spirit of the Lord came to. Or we can look where it says the Spirit of the Lord came to John, John the Baptist. So that part's not true. You got to be careful. But if you stick to that, then what about 2 books in the Bible that doesn't say anything at all about God, his Spirit, and angel? Songs of Solomon, Esther, doesn't even mention God. So we have to decide, what are we going to believe? Are we going to believe the whole Bible, or are we going to just cherry pick and just believe parts of the Bible? With that, let's get started. Let's go to Isaiah 7. This is the great expectation, the coming of the Messiah, the great expectation. So let's go to Isaiah 7 and take a look at this. We're going to jump back and forth a little bit, and all you have to do, brothers and sisters, you have to decide, what are you going to believe? Am I going to believe a part of the Bible, or am I going to believe the whole Bible? So believe it all or throw it all away. That's really what it comes down to. Believe it all or throw it all away. Okay? So Isaiah 7, and the Hebrew only, it's no different than the modern Roman Christianity when all they believe is New Testament. Okay, you can't even understand the New Testament if you don't read some of their Old. But it's the same thing. You have Tanakh only, and they say, well, we can't do this or that. Don't that. Look, just admit you don't want to believe. That's it. Isaiah 7. Read verse 14, brother. Isaiah 7 and 14. Go ahead.
Therefore the Lord himself shall give you a sign.
And what's that sign?
Behold, a virgin shall conceive and bear a son, and shall call his name Emmanuel.
Okay, that just simply means God with us, but that's okay. But I know they don't want to. Oh well, see, no. If you go up another chapter, that's talking about the king. If we look at the description of this particular Messiah, that king doesn't fit. Okay, doesn't fit. You and Isaiah, go to Isaiah chapter 9. Let's look at this. Isaiah chapter 9. Okay, you there, brother?
Yes, sir.
Let the Bible speak at verse number 6. Isaiah 9 and 6. Go ahead.
For unto us a child is born, unto us a son is given.
Okay, go ahead.
And the government shall be upon his shoulder.
I don't know any king like that, but go ahead.
And his name shall be called Wonderful.
Wonderful. What king you know and his name was Wonderful, or his title denotes that he was wonderful? Mighty and great. I don't know any. Go ahead. What else?
Counselor.
What counselor you? What king you know a counselor? Go ahead.
The mighty God.
That's the killer right there. What king in history do you know known as the mighty God? I'm not talking someone who's delusional and thought he was God. I'm talking about actually considered the mighty God. Nobody. Go ahead.
The everlasting Father.
Come on now. Come on.
The Prince of Peace.
Okay, continue.
Of the increase of his government and peace there shall be no end.
No, what king do you know brought peace throughout the whole world? Okay, go ahead, brother.
Upon the throne of David.
Okay, see, now we got very, very specific. See, he's going to be sitting on the throne of David. So we don't have to go to every king that ever existed. We got to go to a particular line, right? Go ahead.
And upon his kingdom.
Yep.
To order it and to establish it with judgment and with justice from henceforth even forever. The zeal of the Lord of hosts will perform this.
Go ahead, verse 8.
The Lord sent a word into Jacob.
Yep.
And it had lightened up Israel.
Okay, so this pertains to Israel. He sent the word to Jacob and has lightened up Israel. So Israel understands this. We're supposed to. But we got people today that don't even believe in this stuff. Got people today, Messiah hadn't even come. Okay? I'm not going to even get into, you know what? Let go to Isaiah 53. Go to Isaiah 53 because I'm in danger of digressing onto other stuff and I need to get the lesson out. Isaiah 53. Okay, if you guys can show me a human king that has done that. I'm not saying that the Messiah has done this yet. I know all this hasn't happened yet. I know that. But see, that's the confusion. Just like our brothers in that day, in the first century, making the same mistake. We're making the same mistake today. They mistake that don't believe in Messiah. They are looking at all the prophecies of the Messiah, and in his first coming, he didn't do all those things. But the Old Testament speaks of two comings. Two. And we just cannot confuse the two set of prophecies that says this regards his first coming, this regards his second coming. See, his plan is far-reaching, wouldn't you agree? It's far-reaching. It's not just, oh, he's going to do all this in one day. Come on. Isaiah 53 and 12. 53 and let the Bible speak at verse 12, brother.
Therefore will I divide him a portion with the great, and he shall divide a spoil with the strong.
Yep.
Because he has poured out his soul unto death, and he was numbered with the transgressors.
Yes, sir.
And he bare the sin of many.
Okay.
And made intercession for the transgressors.
I mean, does it sound like anybody else? I mean, is it just me, or does it sound like anybody? It's Messiah. I don't. But that's okay. That's okay. Matthew. Let's go to New Testament. Matthew 1 and verse 18. Matthew 1 and verse 18. I'll let this bear it out all by itself. Matthew 1 and verse 18. And when you get there, somebody say amen.
Amen.
All right, go ahead. Matthew 1 and 18.
Now the birth of Jesus Christ was on this wise.
And on this wise is old, is archaic English, it's old English. It means this is how it happened. Okay, that's all on this wise means. Is it happened like this. Go ahead.
When as his mother Mary was espoused to his Joseph before they came together.
Which means consummation. You got hateful Hebrews today that don't believe there was a virgin birth. Well, see, it's got to be a seed, and you got to need a man's DNA. What's Adam's DNA? Let's keep going, okay? Let's keep going. I just want y'all to see the hypocrisy. Do y'all see the hypocrisy? It's ridiculous. Okay, go ahead. Before they came together, before they consummated, go ahead.
When his mother Mary was espoused to Joseph before they came together, she was found with child of the Holy Ghost.
Go ahead.
Then Joseph, her husband, being a just man and not willing to make her a public example, was minded to put her away privately.
Okay, so you can put your wife away under one condition. What is that? Adultery. He thought she cheated. He's like, wait a minute, how are you pregnant and we haven't slept together? Does that make plain sense? Plain sense. So don't let someone use these verbal acrobats to throw you off. She was a virgin, okay? It was just that simple, okay? If God couldn't do it, what kind of God is he? Go ahead.
But while he thought on these things, behold, the angel of the Lord appeared unto him in a dream, saying, Joseph, thou son of David, fear not to take unto thee Mary thy wife, for that which is conceived in her is of the Holy Ghost.
Go ahead, brother.
And she shall bring forth a son, and thou shalt call his name Jesus, for he shall save his people from their sins.
Okay, now we know it's been translated, and we know that Jesus is not what they said at the time, but we speak English. Remember the Tower of Babel? God did that, okay? So we got all the languages today because of God himself. So don't be mad because we're reading English. So calm down. Verse 23, brother.
Now all this was done, and it might be fulfilled, which was spoken of the Lord by the prophet,
Okay,
saying,
go ahead.
Behold, a virgin shall be with child, and shall bring forth a son, and they shall call his name Emmanuel. With being interpreted with God with us.
So wait a minute. So I didn't really have to go to the Old Testament to make the connection. It made the connection by itself, right?
No, sir.
So I didn't make it up. So it's not me. Even though we went back there just to show you that it's in there. That's all. We went there to show you. So, oh, this guy's making stuff up. So we go back there to show you. So we went back there to show you, but in the verse itself, it made the connection. Oh, well, you know, it called him Jesus, and back then it said Emmanuel. We know that names were translated, okay? We understand that. But we can look through the Bible, and there's a lot of names and titles God was called by, okay? So calm down. If you think we're serving some Roman Jesus, the picture that's on the wall that's everywhere, no, we don't serve that God, okay? So calm down. Let's go to Matthew 2. Let's look at something else. Next chapter, Matthew 2. Matthew 2, and since it's the next chapter, you should be there. Pick it up at verse 1. Let's look at something.
Now when Jesus was born in Bethlehem of Judea in the days of Herod the king.
Herod the king, go ahead.
Behold, there came wise men from the east to Jerusalem.
Okay, saying what?
Saying, where is he that is born King of the Jews?
They were expecting something. That's why this is a great expectation. How would they know? How would they... Consider that, brothers and sisters. How would three wise men in Judea even expect that a king was come, someone born king of the Jews? They had to have seen that somewhere in the scriptures. We don't just decide today, you know what, I think Messiah is coming back today or this year. We have to see that somewhere, okay? These are the wise men. It's translated, it's actually the Magi, which means wise men, okay? So these Magi came from the east to Jerusalem saying, go ahead, brother.
Saying, where is that is born King of the Jews? For we have seen his star in the east.
Seen his star in the east, and what?
And are come to worship him.
So they were going to worship Jesus right there. Hold your finger right there and go to Numbers 24, brother. Hold your finger right there and go to Numbers 24. Why would they do that? They have to expect something. They had to have seen something, have known something. And they said, you know, we saw his star. Let's see that. Numbers 24. You there, brother? Let's read verse 17. Then we'll go right back to Matthew 2. Okay, go ahead.
I shall see him, but not now. I shall behold him, but not nigh.
Okay, so not right now. This is in Numbers, okay? We're going to see it, but not right now. Okay, we're going to behold him. We're going to look at him, but not right now. Go ahead.
There shall come a star out of Jacob.
Say that again.
There shall come a star out of Jacob.
And that's capital. There should be a star out of Jacob. And what else?
And a scepter shall rise out of Israel.
Go ahead.
And shall smite all the corners of Moab, and destroy all the children of Sheth.
Okay, now let's go back to Matthew 2 and pick it up at verse, back at 2, and then we'll keep reading. Matthew 2, verse 2.
Verse 2, okay.
Go ahead, brother.
Saying, where is he that is born King of the Jews? For we have seen his star in the east,
Okay.
and are come to worship him.
Keep going, brother.
When Herod the king had heard these things, he was troubled, and all Jerusalem was with him.
Okay.
And when he had gathered all the chief priests and scribes of the people together,
Yes, sir.
he demanded of them where Christ should be born.
Now you know Herod wanted to kill him. They're just like, hey, because he, this is supposed to be the king of the Jews. Herod's the king. He's like, what? He's thinking, wait a minute, I'm the king. All right, show me where this guy is. Go ahead, brother.
And they said unto him, in Bethlehem of Judea, for thus it is written by the prophet.
It is written by the, wait. You said it's written by the, wait. Go to keep your finger there. Go to Micah 5. Let's just see where the Magi, where are they getting this idea that a king is going to be born to them? We already got one with the star. Let's do one more thing, because he said, where is he going to be? And they go, and when he had gathered the chief priests and the scribes together, he demanded of them where Christ should be born. And they said unto him, in Bethlehem of Judea, for thus it is written by the prophets. Okay? Now let's look at something. Micah 5. You there, brother?
I'm looking for it. Micah 5. Micah 5. Where is Micah in the New Testament?
Over there.
Okay. Oh.
Okay.
Sorry about that.
That's okay. Go to Micah 5. We're going to get it.
Okay, Micah 5.
Micah 5.
Verse?
No. Yeah, Micah 5, verse 2. Go ahead.
Verse 2. But thou, Bethlehem,
Ephratah,
though thou be little among the thousands of Judah, yet out of thee shall he come forth unto me that is to be ruler in Israel.
Okay.
Whose going forth have been of old, from everlasting.
Okay, now go ahead and go back to Matthew 2, okay? And we're going to pick it up at 4. So go to Matthew 2 and 4. But he read, but thou, Bethlehem Ephratah, though thou be little among the thousands of Judah, yet out of thee shall he come forth unto me that is to be a ruler in Israel, whose goings forth have been from old, from everlasting. Okay? So let's go back to Matthew 2 and pick it up in 4, and let's keep going. Go ahead, brother.
And when he had gathered all the chief priests and scribes of the people together, he demanded of them where Christ should be born.
Okay.
And they said unto him, in Bethlehem of Judea, for thus it is written by the prophet.
Go ahead.
And thou, Bethlehem, in the land of Judah, art not the least among the princes of Judah.
Yep.
For out of these shall come a governor that shall rule my people Israel.
See, okay, so we got some agreement there, right?
Yes, sir.
Keep going.
Then Herod, when he had privately called the wise men, inquired of them diligently what time the star appeared.
Okay, what time the star appeared? He's trying to really find out where this Messiah, King of the Jew, what time? When did you see this star? He's trying to really track him down. Go ahead, verse 8.
And he sent them to Bethlehem and said, Go and search diligently for the young child.
Okay.
And when ye have found him, bring me word again, that I may come and worship him also.
Now, do we all know that's a lie? We know he wasn't going to work. Okay,
Yeah.
we know that. Okay, go ahead.
When they had heard the king, they departed. And lo, the star which they saw in the east went before them, till it came and stood over where the young child was.
Go ahead, brother.
When they saw the star, they rejoiced with exceedingly great joy.
Okay, so they understood prophecy. We can at least agree they understood prophecy, right? So they came back, hey, we saw the star What's going on? Go ahead. And they were really, really happy, exceeding great joy. Go ahead.
And when they were come into the house, they saw the young child with Mary, his mother, and fell down and worshipped him.
So Jesus was worshipped as a baby. So they said, nobody ever worshiped. Well, he got some worship. Go ahead.
And when they opened their treasures, they presented unto him gifts, gold and frankincense and myrrh.
Okay, now, just as a side note, we don't know how many wise men there was, okay? The scripture doesn't say 3, but they counting it because of the gifts. Gold, frankincense, and myrrh. Okay, it must have been 3. I don't know. It could have been 3, could have been 6, could have been 10. We don't know, okay? We don't know. Not important, but we don't know, okay? It could have been 4, and one of them hand them all 3 gifts. We don't know, okay? We have no idea. Go ahead, 12.
And being warned of God in a dream that they should not return to Herod, they departed into their own country another way.
They said, you know what? We're not going back to Herod because this dude crazy. God said, don't go back and tell him anything. So they went the other way. Go ahead.
And when they were departed, behold, the angel of the Lord appears to Joseph in a dream.
Go ahead.
Saying, arise, and take the young child and his mother, and flee into Egypt. And be thou there until I bring thee word. For Herod will seek the young child to destroy him.
So they're trying to kill him. Joseph, go into Egypt, okay? The dream, the Lord appeared unto Joseph in the dream, saying, arise, take the young child and his mother, and flee into Egypt. A nation of dark-skinned people, by the way. And be thou there until I bring thee word, for Herod will seek the young child to destroy him or to kill him. Go ahead.
When he arose, he took the young child and his mother by night and departed into Egypt.
Go ahead.
And was there until the death of Herod.
Okay, so when we see Herod in Acts, we know it's a different Herod, right? Because he said was until the death of Herod, but I'm not done. We're going to see actually that he actually died. But go ahead.
That it might be fulfilled, which was spoken of the Lord by the prophet, saying, out of Egypt have I called my son.
Okay, so do we understand, just like Israel, okay, it's symbolic, just like he called Israel by the mouth of Moses out of Egypt, okay, out of that bondage, okay? Same thing with Christ and the Messiah. He was called out. Well, go ahead, 16.
Then Herod, when he saw that he was mocked of the wise men,
meaning they didn't come back, go ahead,
was exceeding wroth, and sent forth and slew all the children that were in Bethlehem.
Slew all the children are in Bethlehem. So when we read in the Old Testament, when they say of the Messiah, who can claim his generation? Because everybody 2 years old and younger got killed. Go ahead.
They slew all the children that were in Bethlehem and in all the coasts thereof, from 2 years old and under, according to the time which he had diligently inquired of the wise men.
Go ahead, brother.
Then was fulfilled that which was spoken by Jeremy the prophet, saying,
what did it say?
In Ramah was there a voice heard, lamentation and weeping and great mourning, Rachel weeping for her children, and would not be comforted because there are not.
Let me ask you, brothers and sisters, something. If you don't ever go to the Old Testament, how are you going to understand the New Testament? It keeps referring back to the New Testament, as it is written, thus says, and the prophet said this, or as Isaiah said, or what Daniel said. I mean, you never go to the Old Testament to see what they said. How is it going to make sense? You never go to check what they says. Go ahead.
But when Herod was dead.
Say that again.
But when Herod was dead.
So in Acts, that's a different Herod, right? Okay, so when Herod was dead, let's see what happened next, so that way we can button this up and we know this particular Herod is dead. It said, but when Herod was dead, behold what?
Behold, an angel of the Lord appears in a dream to Joseph in Egypt.
Go ahead.
Saying, arise, and take the young child and his mother, and go into the land of Israel, for they are dead, which sought the young child's life.
That pretty much solves it right there. They're dead. The people who were trying to kill him, Herod and his men, they're dead. You can go back to Israel, Jerusalem. Go back. It's okay. You know, it's really that simple. So we know we didn't have to go back and forth too many times because it kept tying up Old Testament right there with it anyway. They're letting us know prophecy is being fulfilled. Okay, so go to Matthew 11. Okay, we're going to look at a little bit more. Go to Matthew 11, chapter 11. This is a great expectation, brothers and sisters. A great expectation. And we're showing you that they expected it. That's why some people in the first century that's why you got some believers. Because some people understood the scriptures that talked about the Messiah and said, this must be the guy. Some of them didn't believe because they say, wait a minute, he's supposed to be conquering and setting up the kingdom and all that, and he's not doing that. He's not the Messiah. Two different comings, okay? Two different comings. Matthew 11, pick it up at verse 1, brother, and let the Bible speak.
And it came to pass, when Jesus had made an end of commanding his 12 disciples, he departed thence to teach and to preach in their cities.
Go ahead.
Now when John had heard in the prison the works of Christ, he sent 2 of his disciples, and said unto him, Art thou he that should come, or do we look for another?
Sound like expectation by that question, right? They're expecting somebody. Are you the one who's supposed to come, or should we be looking for someone else? This is what I'm saying, brother. So there was an expectation. They expected somebody to come out of Israel, saw his star. Are you the one, or should we that should come, or should we look for somebody else? Okay, let's look at some more prophecy. Go to Daniel 9, brothers and sisters. Let's look at some more prophecy about when he come. Now, it could be a combination between the first coming and the second coming. But we know the Lord's plan is far-reaching. And we want to touch on some of these things. Daniel 9. We want to touch on some of these things because we're coming up on Passover. And I just want to make sure we're serving the right Messiah. There's nothing wrong with that, right? We just want to make sure we're getting the right guy. Okay? That's why we want to deal with some of this. That's why we dealt with last week on how to pray. Okay, we dealt with some of that. Now this week we want to, okay, who is this Messiah? Who is the one who's taking away our sins? Let's make sure we are putting the arrow right on the right target, okay? And then I want to edify my brothers and sisters who say, you know what? If y'all run into some of those doctrines that, okay, well, you know, the New Testament's no good and, you know, just Torah only, it's hard for me to understand that. People who say Tanakh only, and we had animal sacrifice, why aren't you sacrificing now? Why aren't you making a sacrifice now? Well, you know, we don't have a Levitical priesthood. Well, you got your 12 tribes charged. You say you know who Levi is, so go over to the Haitians and have them do your sacrifices. Well, we don't have, well, okay, look, you got to atone for your sins somehow. You got to do something. Unless you're saying you haven't sinned since you come into the truth. Then that means you're lying, so you're sinning anyway. So you got to figure something out here. Daniel 9 and verse 9. Daniel 9 and verse 9. Let's look at some more prophecy. Go ahead, brother. Daniel 9 and 9. Let the Bible speak.
To the Lord our God belong mercy and forgiveness, though we have rebelled against him.
Okay.
Neither have we obeyed the voice of the Lord our God, to walk in his laws, which he set before us by his servants the prophets.
Yes, sir.
Yea, all Israel have transgressed thy law.
Yeah, all Israel has not all the world has transgressed thy law, even though they have, but we know the law was given to Israel. All Israel has transgressed thy law. Go ahead.
Even by departing, that they might not obey thy voice. Therefore the curse is poured upon us.
Okay, so we know the curse hit us. Go ahead.
And the oath that is written in the law of Moses, the servant of God,
yes,
because we have sinned against him.
Okay, so you just read the Torah and you'll understand exactly what Daniel's talking about. Go ahead. Particularly Deuteronomy, but go ahead.
And he has confirmed his words, which he spake against us.
Yes, he
and
did.
Against our judges that judged us.
Yep.
By bringing upon us a great evil.
And we know all the great evil. We just went through February and we talked about all the evil that came on Israel. Okay, just look at those lessons and you'll understand exactly what happened. Okay, go ahead.
For under the whole heaven has not been done as has been done upon Jerusalem.
Yes, sir.
As it is written in the law of Moses, all this evil is come upon us.
He said it would. Go ahead.
Yet made we not our prayer before the Lord our God, that we might turn from our iniquity and understand thy truth.
Understand. This is Daniel earnestly praying, trying to get some understanding. But the first thing he did, and we covered this in our lesson last week with prayer and stuff, first thing he did was admit he was wrong, and he admitted the sins of Israel too. He just confessed it. Lord, we messed up. And then he got specific. Okay, we messed up. We transgressed your law. We didn't want to listen to you. And you said you were going to punish us. And that's why it's all happening to us. Just tell it like it is. Go ahead, brother.
Therefore hath the Lord watched upon the evil and brought it upon us.
Yep.
For the Lord our God is righteous in all his works, which he doeth. But we obeyed not his voice.
Still didn't want to listen. Go ahead, brother.
And now, O Lord our God, that hast brought thy people forth out of the land of Egypt with a mighty hand.
He did.
And has gotten thee renowned. As at this day we have sinned, we have done wickedly.
He said we messed up a couple times, didn't he? It's just being honest. And I don't want to harken back to our lesson the last week or whatever, but I just want you to take that home. Just be honest. Just be honest with God. He already knows the truth. It's for you to cleanse your spirit. Okay? That's for you. That's not like you can lie to him anyway. So just be honest. Don't sugarcoat it. I messed up, Lord. I messed up. I messed up. I'm asking you for mercy. I messed up. Like I said last week, when he went to when he went to Cain and he asked about Abel, he already knew the answer. Just giving you a chance to fess up. Okay? Drop down to verse 17, brother. 17. Go ahead.
Now therefore, O our God, hear the prayer of thy servant and his supplication.
Exactly. Hear the prayer and his supplication. Go ahead.
And cause thy face to shine upon thy sanctuary, that is desolate for the Lord's sake.
Go ahead, brother.
O my God, incline thine ear and hear. Open thine eye and behold our desolation.
He's asking, Lord, listen to me. Please listen to me. Hear my prayer and hear my supplication. You know what I want. Just hear it. Just incline your ear. Hear it. Open your eyes. Just look at this destruction, this desolation. Go ahead, brother.
And the city which is called by thy name.
Go ahead.
For we do not present our supplication before thee for our righteousness, but for thy great mercy.
I'm not asking this supplication because we're so righteous. That's not what I'm asking you, Lord, because it's because you're merciful. Not because we're righteous. Not because we've done everything right. It's because you're merciful. That's why I'm asking for your mercy. I'm not saying to judge me based on how righteous I am. I'm not asking you to judge us based on how righteous we are as a nation. No. I'm asking according to your mercy. Go ahead.
O Lord, hear, O Lord. Forgive, O Lord. Hearken and do.
Yes.
Defer not for thine own sake. O my God, for thy city and thy people are called by thy name.
Go ahead, brother.
And while I was speaking and praying and confessing my sin.
Speaking, praying, confessing his sin. Go ahead.
And the sin of my people
and
Israel,
the sin of Israel. Go ahead.
And presenting my supplication before the Lord my God for the holy mountain of my God. Yea, while I was speaking in prayer, even the man Gabriel, whom I had seen in the vision at the beginning, being called to fly swiftly, touched me about the time of the evening oblation.
Okay, go ahead.
And he informed me and talked with me and said, O Daniel, I am now come forth to give thee skill and understanding.
I have come forth to give thee skill and understanding. So all your prayers and your supplication, everything, the visions that you've seen, if we read earlier, the vision that you've seen, I'm going to give you some skill and some understanding. I'm going to tell you what all this stuff means. Go ahead.
At the beginning of thy supplication, the commandment came forth, and I had come to show thee, for thou art greatly beloved.
Yes.
Therefore, understand the matter and consider the vision.
About to give him some understanding. Now let's get some understanding. Now we're going to get into the prophecy. Okay, go ahead, brother.
70 weeks are determined upon thy people and upon thy holy city.
70 weeks. Now, not 70 literal weeks. We know that it's prophetic, okay? All right? So we know this is weeks of years. 70 weeks of years. Okay, go ahead.
To finish the transgression.
To finish the transgression, take note. 1, to finish the transgression, go ahead.
And to make an end of sin.
To make an end of sin, go ahead.
And to make reconciliation for iniquity.
Reconciliation for iniquity, go ahead.
And to bring in everlasting righteousness.
He's going to bring in everlasting righteousness, go ahead.
And to seal up the vision and prophecy.
And to seal up the vision and prophecy, go ahead.
And to anoint the most holy.
And to anoint the most holy. All that had a comma, 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 comma. So we know all these different things that were going to happen. This is what's going to happen, okay? It's not going to happen in one day, people. But it's going to happen. It's going to unfold. Keep going, brother. Know what?
Know therefore and understand that from the going forth of the commandment to restore and to build Jerusalem unto the Messiah, the prince shall be 7 weeks.
Guess what? You are starting to hear the unfolding, and I'm going to show it to you. You're starting to hear the unfolding now. He said, know therefore and understand that from the going forth of the commandment to restore and to build Jerusalem, to build that wall, from that point, when then you can start counting this 70 weeks of 7, which is 490 years. But from that point, Then you start counting. Then we're going to look at the command to build Jerusalem unto what? Unto what?
Unto the Messiah, the Prince, shall be 7 weeks.
7 weeks, go ahead.
And 62 weeks.
Okay, so in 24 he said 70 weeks. Okay, and right here in 25 he said 7 weeks. That's where we get our 7 times 70, 490. Okay, 62 weeks, and go ahead.
The street shall be built again, and the wall, even in troublous times.
Even in troublous times. We're going to look at that in a minute. Keep going, brother.
And after 62 weeks, shall Messiah be cut off.
Shall who be cut off?
Shall Messiah be cut off.
Okay, so Messiah shall be cut off. Because a lot of Sunday Christians, they get this all mixed up and like, oh, there's going to be a 7-year peace treaty. And then, you know, then the Antichrist is going to go ahead and break the peace treaty. And then that's going to start the 7 years of tribulation and all that. This says Messiah. Never has the Antichrist been referred to as Messiah. Ever. Nowhere in the Bible. So where it's Messiah, it's Messiah. Okay? That's it. After 62 weeks shall Messiah be cut off, but what?
But not for himself.
So we know it's the right Messiah, because if he's going to die not for himself, that means he's innocent, right? I'm going to die, but not for myself. For other people. Go ahead. Now we pinpointed the Messiah. Okay, go ahead.
But not for myself. And the people of the prince that shall come shall destroy the city and the sanctuary. And the end thereof shall be with a flood.
Flood is symbolic for army. We know what happened in 70 AD. Keep going.
And unto the end of the word desolation are determined.
Yes, 27. What else?
And he shall confirm the covenant with many for 1 week.
Okay, now we're going to deal with 1 week, one little 7-year period and a literal week. Go ahead.
And in the midst of the week he shall cause the sacrifice of the oblation to
Okay,
cease.
so if we are all, it don't take that much. You can ask your 4th or 5th grader. Let's take a week. You look at a calendar and you say, what day is in the middle of the week? What day is that?
Wednesday.
Okay. All right. In the midst of the week, he shall be cut off, and he's going to cause what?
He shall cause the sacrifice of the oblation to cease.
Yep.
And for the overspreading of abomination.
Could this be why we don't sacrifice animals right now? Because it was prophesied. Could that possibly?
That's exactly.
Okay. So that's why I'm trying to figure why we don't do it now. And back then, right here, it says that whoever this Messiah is, whenever he dies, he's going to cause the sacrifices and oblations to cease. Interesting. Go ahead.
And for the overspreading of abomination, he shall make it desolate.
You're going to destroy all that mess. Go ahead.
Even unto the
consummation.
And that determined shall be poured upon the desolate.
Okay, I don't want to go too far, so let's go to Nehemiah 4. Because he said, from the time the commandment goes forth to rebuild Jerusalem, that's when the countdown starts, right? Daniel's written somewhere around 600 BC. Okay? 600. Okay? Now we're going to go to Nehemiah. Go back 2 books. Now a couple of books. Go back a couple of books. Go to Nehemiah. Now, some people might say, oh, well, see, you going back. Nehemiah happened first. No, it didn't. The Old Testament is not in chronological order, people. Okay? It's not all in chronological order. If you do your own due diligence, you'll see that Daniel's in the neighborhood of 600 BC. Okay? Then you'll discover, if you keep looking, that Nehemiah is around about 425. About 425 BC. Okay? That's what we have to understand. Now let's look at the command of, hey, go rebuild Jerusalem and the wall. Okay? Nehemiah 4. Pick it up at verse 9, brother. Nehemiah 4 and verse 9. This is why they expected a Messiah. These are those who understood that 490 years and said, man, he should be coming by now. Nehemiah 4 and 9. Are we getting some understanding?
Yes, sir.
Nehemiah 4, pick it up at verse 9.
Nevertheless, we made our prayer unto our God and set a watch against them day and night because of them.
Because they had people, while they were trying to build, people was trying to kill them. Even in troublous time, as Daniel said, right? Go ahead.
And Judah said, the strength of the bearers of the burden is decayed, and there is much rubbish.
There's a lot of rubbish, okay? It's like when you go and you see a city and it's destroyed and and bricks and wood, just destroy. Okay, it's a big mess. Okay, so it's kind of hard for us to work because it's just a bunch of rubbish and debris and all kinds of stuff. Okay, go ahead.
So that we are not able to build the wall.
Go ahead.
And our adversaries said, they shall not know, neither see, till we come in the midst among them and slay them and cause the work to cease.
Yeah, that's what the enemies are saying. They said they won't even know what hit them because we can sneak up on them and kill them. You know, it'll be by the time they know we're upon them. That's it. We got them killed. We got on top of them. Go ahead.
And it came to pass that when the Jews which dwelt by them came, they said unto us 10 times, from all places whence ye shall return unto us, they will be upon you.
Yep, go ahead.
Therefore set I in the lower places behind the wall,
yep,
and on the higher places.
Go ahead.
I even set the people after their family with their swords,
yep,
their spears, and their bows.
Because they had swords, spears, and bows, so they had weapons, right? But we're talking about building a wall. Go ahead.
And I looked and rose up and said unto the nobles,
yep,
and to the rulers, and to the rest of the people, be not ye afraid of them. Remember the Lord, which is great and terrible,
yep,
and fight for your brethren,
yep,
your sons, and your daughters, your wives, and your houses. And it came to pass when our enemies heard that it was known unto us,
yep,
and God had brought their counsel to naught.
Yeah, all their little plans, he brought their little plans to naught. Our enemies, that is. Go ahead.
That we return all of us to the wall,
yep,
every one unto his work.
We're going to get back to the wall and start to work. Keep going, brother.
And it came to pass from the time forth that the half of my servants wrought in the work, and the other half of them held both the spears, the shields, and the bows, and the habergeons, and the rulers were behind all the house of Judah.
Go ahead, brother.
They which builded on the wall, and they that bear burden, with those that laid it, every one with one of his hands wrought in the work.
Okay, one of his hand done the work, and the other hand did what?
And the other hand held a weapon.
Held a weapon. Huh. Building and ready to fight at the same time. Troublous times, right? And they're building a wall. And Daniel said, when the commandment go forth to rebuild Jerusalem in troublous times. Go ahead. 18.
For the builders, everyone had his sword girded by his side.
He had a sword strapped on his side, and what?
And so builded.
He had a sword. They had their weapons ready and building at the same time. Go ahead.
And he that sounded a trumpet was by me.
Go ahead.
And I said unto the nobles, and to the rulers, and to the rest of the people, the work is great and large. We are separated upon the wall, one far from another. In what place therefore ye hear the sound of the trumpet, resort ye thither unto us. Our God shall fight for us.
And see, so we're going to keep on building. We're going to keep doing our thing. If we sound a trumpet, it's going to be time to fight, but we know our God's going to fight for us. You say, well, Robert, whoa, we got to verify that time frame you're talking about. We got to verify the time. It's a fair question. I don't mind exercising a little bit of scholarship. I don't mind. Let's go to Nehemiah 13, okay? Because everybody, you got to double check. Got to make sure. Now, in the time of Daniel, there's like two kings, right? Babylonian Empire was ruled by whom? Nebuchadnezzar, right? And then later it was like, Belteshazzar, he started writing on the wall and he was in trouble. But then after that you had Darius who came after, okay? So we know around the time of, Nebuchadnezzar. So now we're going to see in Nehemiah's time who was the king then, and then we'll know, okay, who ruled first, right? It's a good way to get a time frame. Then all you can do, go and Google it. Okay, let me go Nebuchadnezzar. Let's see, when did he rule? Look at that time. And then look at this next king, who I didn't name yet. See what time he ruled. Okay, go ahead. Nehemiah 13, pick it up at verse 1, brother. I really only want verse 6, but we like context too. Okay, so go ahead. Verse 1, brother.
On that day, they read in the book of Moses in the audience of the people, and therein was found written that the Ammonite and the Moabite should not come into the congregation of God forever.
Yep.
Because they met not the children of Israel with bread and with water, but hired Balaam against them.
Yeah, they didn't greet them. They didn't help them. They just wanted to take advantage of them anyway. But hired Balaam against them. That what?
That he should curse them.
Go ahead.
Howbeit our God turned the curse into a blessing.
Yeah, but God, he blessed us anyway. He turned it around. Go ahead.
Now it came to pass, when they had heard the law, that they separated from Israel all the mixed multitude.
Okay, so all the people, who did, they separated from the mixed multitude. You don't want, look, our Lord, after they heard the law, they said, you know what, our Lord wants us to do certain things, and you don't want to do it, you got to go, okay? We can't be mixed up with you anymore unless, of course, you want to follow what we have to do. But for right, you got to go. Go ahead.
And before this, Eliashib, the priest, having the oversight of the chamber of the house of our God, was allied unto Tobiah.
Tobiah. Go ahead.
And he had prepared for him a great chamber, where aforetime they laid the meat offering, the franken incense, and the vessels, and the tithes of the corn, the new wine, and the oil, which was commanded to be given to the Levites, and the singers, and the porters, and the offerings of the priests.
Now, let's get the time frame. Go ahead, verse 6.
But in all this time was not I at Jerusalem.
So Nehemiah said, I wasn't in Jerusalem, but go ahead.
For in the 30th year of
Artaxerxes,
king of Babylon, came I unto the king, and after certain days obtained I leave of the king.
Okay, so all you have to do is see when Nebuchadnezzar ruled and where Artaxerxes, this one is the first, Artaxerxes ruled, and you're going to get around 425 BC. In fact, you can double check if you would like. And I believe his reign was 465 to 424 BC. Artaxerxes. That was his reign. 465 to 424 BC. So all we need to do is go forward 483 years or so, and you're going to find yourself in the 1st century, which is why they were expecting a Messiah. You understand? From the time that the command of the wall to be rebuilt, Nehemiah, unto the coming of the Messiah. Okay? We understand that?
Yes.
That's all you got to do. All right? Let's look at a little bit more Messiah. Isaiah 50. Let's see how much time we have for this first part of the lesson. You know what? We'll read this. We'll read a little bit of this, and then we'll pick it back up here again for the second part. Isaiah 53, brother.
Isaiah 53.
Isaiah 53. Does this make sense so far?
Yeah.
Okay, so we got it so far. Okay, good. Isaiah 53. We're going to pick it up at 1. We're going to read a little bit, close it out, then we'll open back up again at Isaiah 53 for part 2. Isaiah 53, start at verse 1, brother.
Who has believed our report, and to whom is the arm of the Lord revealed? For he shall grow up before him as a tender plant.
Yep, little baby Jesus. Go ahead.
And as a root out of a dry ground. He has no form nor comeliness. And when he shall see him, there is no beauty that we should desire him. He is despised and rejected of men.
Was this everybody? This is a particular Messiah we're talking about. Go ahead. Despised and rejected of men. Was Christ despised and rejected? Go ahead.
A man of sorrows.
Did he have many sorrows? Did he cry? Go ahead.
And acquainted with grief.
Didn't he cry for Lazarus? Didn't he cry for his disciples? Okay, go ahead.
And we hid as it were our faces from him.
Then a lot of people reject him as Messiah. They didn't want to hear it. Go ahead.
He was despised, and we esteemed him not.
And talking about Israel as a whole, we esteemed him not. We don't know who he is. We don't know what this guy talking about. Get him out of here. Go ahead.
Surely he has borne our griefs and carried our sorrows. Yet we did esteem him stricken.
This is in Isaiah. This is in Isaiah. I know you see the Messiah in your head when you're hearing this. I know you do. That's because the Lord has opened your understanding. That's why. You do that, you're just simply ignoring it. There's no person, no natural man gone through this. Did Isaiah go through this? No. But he's prophesying of the Messiah that is coming, that's going to go through this. Go ahead, brother. Verse 3, what were you saying? We hit his face.
Verse 4.
Verse 4, go ahead.
Surely he has borne our grief and carried our sorrows. Yet we did esteem him stricken, smitten of God, and afflicted.
Yeah, because God wanted this to happen. Why? Because the debt had to be paid. Israel sinned. Israel rebelled. They had a hard heart. They were stiff-necked. All these humans messed up. So we're going to need one perfect human to atone for these many transgressions. Does that at least make sense? All right, let's go. Keep going.
But he was wounded for our transgressions.
He was wounded for his own transgressions.
No, he was wounded for our transgressions.
Okay, go ahead.
He was bruised for our iniquities.
For his own iniquities.
For our iniquities.
Go ahead.
The chastisement of our peace was upon him. And with his stripes we are healed.
Did he get whipped? With his stripes. He had to bear that punishment. He had to go through this. We are healed because he was punished. We are healed for our iniquity. That's a sacrifice, okay? Go ahead, 6.
All we like sheep have gone astray.
Yes, we have.
We have turned everyone to his own way. And the Lord has laid on him the iniquity of us all.
Read verse 6 again, brother. Read that again.
All we like sheep have gone astray. We have turned everyone to his own way. And the Lord has laid on him the iniquity of us all.
The Lord has laid on him the iniquity of us all. So it sounds like one person has to bear the iniquity of everyone. That's not that hard to understand. And this is Old Testament. So when we see it happen in the New Testament, what is so hard to understand? I don't understand where we get lost. It was prophesied that, hey, this is going to happen. And then when we see it happen, there's a disconnect. It wasn't Christ. Well, then you should still be sacrificing animals. You should still be going to the Levitical priesthood. You should be going to a temple. You need to build a temple or something. Get on it because you are woefully lacking in atonement. At least, even if you don't want to believe, those who are, non-messianic, even if you don't want to believe, don't tell us that we don't have a reason to believe. Amen? Amen. Don't tell us we don't have a reason. We have a reason. Okay? Now, this has been part 1 of The Great Expectation. Join us for part 2 of The Great Expectation as we continue. And until next time, search the scriptures. Improve all things.